2 years after Hurricane Irma, the Ombudsman ventured out into the community to seek out the concerns and grievances of the people. This short film is one of the results of that initiative. This is one of the homes that really got touched by Hurricane Irma. If you look at the roof, the whole roof was messed up, got blown off. And this is the situation that they are in. As you can see here, this was an attempt to fix the roof through jollification.
This resilient family of 6, who like many others lost their roof during the devastating hurricane, is still dealing with the effects of the hurricanes of 2017. This family signed up for assistance for roof repair with the available organizations. They received material from the Red Cross, but with the cost of construction laborers, the family was not able to afford it. In the meantime, the damage to the roof and the now worn down tarpaulin has left the home exposed to the elements as well as rodents and birds. Their access to electricity is very limited and dangerous due to the state of their roof. The water exposure leaves the entire family exposed to mold. Their youngest daughter is constantly in and out of the ER with severe allergies. Even the most resilient persons would suffer emotionally under these circumstances. This courageous family, who preferred not to be filmed, still thought it important to share their story to show what many citizens of Sint Maarten are still going through 2 years and counting since Hurricane Irma struck the island. They have not been sitting still. They try to help themselves through available resources, making their own repairs with the help of YouTube videos. The family described doing their best to keep strong, but having feelings of frustration and losing hope at times. Ms. Azil is a 74-year-old Dominican national with permanent residency and caretaker of a 17-year-old granddaughter. Her home was severely damaged by Hurricane Irma, and her house was deemed unlivable by the Red Cross. The roof of her house was destroyed, and a number of cracks are visible throughout parts of her house. However, her and her granddaughter still reside in the home, which has developed mold in various areas as a result of the flooding caused by the rain, as tarpaulin is still on the roof of the home. She has received building material from the Samaritan Purse, but lacks the necessary manpower and money to carry out said repairs. She receives a partial pension, which is currently beneath the minimum wage, and at times does not have enough food to meet the daily needs of her and her granddaughter. She receives no additional support assistance from the government or otherwise, and is unable to acquire the help needed to carry out any of the essential repairs needed. Through the intervention of the Ombudsman and the Zuchi organization, she has been successfully placed in a monthly food program.
With the storm that just passed lately, was a lot of rain. What did it do to you? You were flooded.
Yes.
The room. Oh,
Yes.
wow.
I cried.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
when I saw
yes.
the water inside of the house.
Yes. Yes. Wow. Okay.
Ms. Rivera is a 65-year-old Dutch national of Dominican Republic descent who has been living on St. Maarten for over 30 years. She lives alone and is a recipient of government social aid and old age pension. Prior to Hurricane Irma, she sought shelter at the Sister Marie Laurent School in Middle Region. After the passing of the hurricane, she was met with devastation as her home was completely destroyed, leaving only the foundation, her bed, and fridge. She paid a friend $80 a day to construct the walls of her home with used pieces of plywood. The Red Cross assisted with labor and material by putting a roof on the plywood structure. She registered several months ago with the NRPB. Due to her low income, lack of social homes and affordable housing on the island, and her inability to do better, it will be difficult for her to escape her present situation. With the hurricane season upon us, the chance of losing her present structure is very high. Mr. Jeffrey, a 73-year-old Dutch national and former educator, is currently residing with his daughter and grandchild in a small section of his house that has remained standing after the passing of Hurricane Irma. Mr. Jeffrey's daughter and grandchild are financially dependent on him. The present living conditions are not suitable for the family as the space is very limited.
So this is the only space that you three have to share?
Yeah, then there's a stove in there,
The kitchen?
and the bathroom.
And what's the buckets for?
To put in water.
Oh, because you don't have a kitchen anymore, so you have to use this as your kitchen as well?
No, that's the washer. That's the washer.
Okay.
According to Mr. Jeffrey, he has, however, encountered difficulty receiving assistance as he cannot produce a deed to the property on which he has lived for the past 20 years. As a result, he cannot qualify for assistance under the NRPB's home repair program. Mr. Jeffrey has considered moving, but with his income, he cannot afford the rental prices that are being asked, and no social homes are available.
Mr. Jeffrey, what is your expectations?
It's very limited. From government, very limited or no. Because when they were sharing out material and so, they didn't give me any.
In his view, the process to receive assistance is tedious and takes a considerable amount of time before a response is received. The entire situation has him feeling that he is not moving forward, and he is concerned about his 3-year-old grandchild, as the lack of space is worrisome and frustrating.
Well, we have an intake assessment that is done, so we look at what the situation really is, what are the needs, what are the plans, what they have available that we can build on to help them to reintegrate back. And so the social workers would meet with them and go through the details of that assessment and see what the needs are. So maybe the social workers can talk a little bit more about what that's like for them.
Yeah, people come to us, they are referred by VSA or they heard about the shelter. They come to us for an intake. We go then assess the house, do an assessment, personal assessment. How's your situation? Do you have a job, for instance? How the family? How does it look like? Do you have children? Partners work, etc., etc. And then we discuss that within the team, and if they fit the criteria of the shelter, then they come in. If they have hurricane damage and they can't stay in their house anymore, or they don't have livable housing, then they can come into the shelter.
And how is that going when you go to the social affairs? When you meet with some persons don't have the documents yet, how long does it take? How does that process go?
We've had a couple of stumbling blocks along the way with that because of social services and people not cooperating as quickly as I would want it to happen, the procedure. But the problem we've had here personally at the shelter is the saying that people who are here don't have any debt ratios. So they don't have any debts because when they come here they don't have to pay GB, like water, electricity, basics. So apparently people who have to get social services have to qualify in a debt ratio analysis, in which they didn't. So a lot of our people got turned on for the additional assistance that they needed.
Yeah, but then still it's going to be hard for them to transition back into society because the rental prices are ridiculous. People can't pay for rent, and then most of the times landowners or house owners, they also ask for a double deposit for 2 months. So then you have your rent, 2 months deposit, and then next to the GB, and And also be aware of people lost everything during the hurricane.
I think that that we are in social crisis, really, really, really bad, because we see people coming and going all the time, and many of them that are coming now are not necessarily hurricane related, but are persons who are really in need of social care, so to speak. You have a lot of young mothers with children, can't pay the rent or was put out, on the street. And you see a lot of the social issues that maybe were, hidden, are coming out, and they are coming to us for help. So not only that, but also pertaining to other issues with relationships and family dynamics. So there's a big need for social care for our people. Besides, support. Besides the hurricane part, we are seeing the big need. And so I think that government really needs to see what we're going to do, whether it's in terms of social housing, affordable social housing for the young, because there's a lot of young persons under the age of 30, between sometimes 20 and 25, that are homeless, technically. So there's a big need. We're in crisis.
They call it an epidemic, and I mean an epidemic.
Ms. Brown is a 65-year-old pensioner of Dutch nationality residing in the towers located in Belvedere and managed by the Sint Maarten Housing Development Foundation. She lives on the 4th floor, which was severely damaged as a result of Hurricane Irma.
And what happens now when it rains?
Oh, that's a problem. When it rains, I got something by the carpenter. I went by the carpenter and I get these things. And I close the window, so the window won't blow open because it doesn't have no hole fast. And I have to put garbage bags inside for the water not to come in. And then the bedroom, sometimes water leak from there.
So here it also leaks?
Yeah,
Okay.
water just drip. It's drip. But here it leaks. Here my bed, I have to move my whole, every time it rains, I have to move my bed, because you see there, it leaks a lot. I have to move my dresser and then leave the mop here, so every time I could mop.
Ms. Brown's next-door neighbor is also coping with similar issues as her.
And Housing Foundation, I don't know, they came once and they take a survey, and day after, he had nothing from them. And then afterward, I went to them a couple of times. I'm tired of it now. I'm saying I'm not going back. I'm going further to look for help. Yes. And I'm still paying my rent, and still they don't never come and see what is what. And never give a message, never keep a meeting, nothing. Once they had a plan to move us, they called me, then I could talk for myself, and I went. They say, afterward, they say it's canceled.
Mr. Reiner is a 56-year-old Dutch citizen who resides in a one-bedroom home in Middle Region. He lives with his wife and receives financial assistance from the Social Services Department. His wife is unemployed and does odd jobs occasionally. His home suffered damages from Hurricane Irma as a tree fell on his home. His roof and parts of the interior of the home were also damaged. He has received assistance from Sint Maarten Development Fund, who provided materials and did some repairs to his home 1 year after the passing of Hurricane Irma. He is registered with the NRPB and has met all the criteria to receive assistance.
But they didn't want to do a concrete roof?
No, because what happened the morning, and they had other houses to do, and so forth, so on. But thanks God for the help I get from them, Yeah.
A senior citizen whose roof on the outside seems to have been fixed, but upon further examination reveals that the roof appears not to be solidified with the house. Open spaces leaves the home exposed to the elements. According to the resident, this repair was done by UNDP. From media reports, it has come to light that more complaints of this nature were reported. Although registered at NRPB, it is unclear if and when he will receive assistance.
I have to take my pension that I was supposed to live off of and repair my house. I tried to get help from the government. I went to an office where I was directed to go, and someone was going to come out to assess the damage. I've never seen them. Windows were blown out. I saved for 17 months to be able to start to fix the top floor. When I saw no help was forthcoming, I did approach an agency that was supposed to help. Contractors came out here. I was told the bids were in. When more or less I can expect an answer. And when I saw the ending of May came and nobody came, I waited till about the middle of the 1st of June, and I called an office only to be insulted in the worst way. When I told the person, I'm sorry, but I'm not calling you to make problems or anything, I'm just calling to get a follow-up because I was told XYZ. Oh, and in a very rough way, as if I was some little puppy, you know? Forget everything you hear before. Listen to what I am telling you. It's not your turn. Your turn is between June and July. I was talking to the good man in June, the first week in June, but I forgot. He had forgot to mention, and I forgot to ask June of which year. Okay? No, I want the public to hear this, because if help is coming to St. Maarten people should benefit from it. You've gone through so much. It makes you feel as if you're a beggar. I'm not a beggar. My mother never taught us to beg. And I'm sorry that I become emotional, but there's a lot of people going through worse stress. I consider myself safe because you look there to the dining room, you're seeing curtains, but behind the curtain is plastic and plywood in order to keep things out. But the rodents come in. The rodents, rats and mice and roaches come in. And I'm glad I went to an ombudsman meeting and I understand what it's all about. And I'm glad that you all have enough interest in us to take our name based on the presency lists we had signed and follow up.
Many people are still suffering in silence. The Ombudsman wanted you to hear their voices.